you should invest when there's blood in the street. So whenever the sentiment is extremely horrible, this is actually the best time to invest. Rule number one is don't lose money. And rule number two is never forget the rule number one. It's like 10 minutes. You can understand everything you need for your self-studies already.
Hey guys! Today we are having Chris MMCrypto from one of the most popular crypto channels. I think it's one from top 5 crypto channels, right? It's called MMCrypto. And it's very nice to see you, Chris. Can you please tell us what brought you to the world of blockchain technology?
Wow. So, first of all, top 5 in daily average views. I think the views is what it comes down to. So we are very happy that everyone is watching our videos and watching you today. And what brought me to crypto? I think it was around 2014 or 15 where I heard about it the first time. But I only had like multi-level marketers, network marketers approaching me with this cloud mining schemes and so on. It was kind of annoying in the first place to hear about Bitcoin, but I studied economics back in the days and I learned about the monetary system, about the financial system, about the central banking system. And the more I learned about it, I understood, well, maybe you should look into that Bitcoin topic again. And then I saw some content like, all right, you can just buy and hold Bitcoin. And this is like money. It just has all the properties of money, and it's even better because you cannot artificially inflate it until infinity. So I combined all my knowledge I had about economics. By the way, I also completed my studies in economics. And I took that knowledge, I combined it with Bitcoin, and I just saw, well, this might really change the world. This is improving so many things which go wrong in the central banking system, in the financial system. And that's why I started to dig deep in. I bought Bitcoin, of course. I wanted to have my personal gain with it. I wanted to increase my purchasing power with it. But I did it with a team, and we had like a few people in the team. Now we still have like 6 or 7 people in the team, whereas I'm the face, I'm talking on YouTube and so on, I'm going to conferences, standing on stage. But we invested in Bitcoin and in altcoins and even in ICOs back in the days. And it went so well that we just decided to share our knowledge, share the framework with the public. And the best way is YouTube, of course. And that's the short story of MMCrypto.
And why did you decide to become a crypto trader?
I think it started somehow towards the end of the bull market 2017, where we decided, well, you cannot only buy and hold, which is the biggest part of our portfolio ever since. The biggest part is always buying and holding. That's it. But then we also invested in ICOs. But on top of that, we thought, well, let's outperform the market. So we also started trading. I was actually also a little bit trading even before crypto. And I started to develop my knowledge in that space and started with training accounts and so on. That started to go well as well. So we shifted a little bit of our trading and of our holding and investing portfolio over to trading. It went well, so we continued it. But as I said, and this should apply to nearly everyone in that space, buying and holding should be the vast majority of your portfolio, because I think if you are a Bitcoiner or a crypto enthusiast, we can all agree upon the fact that in the very long run, there's only one direction, and that's up, right? So if you truly believe in that, buying and holding is the only way where you can, for 100% certainty, secure yourself in that train. And if you are trading with everything you have, there might be the possibility that you lose it all. And this is for sure not what we want. And that's why we are trading with a maximum of 20% of our portfolio.
And do you have experience with trading stocks? Did it help you?
Yes, but it was on a much smaller scale. I was a student back in the days, and of course, I was not yet a full entrepreneur, and my funds were very limited. So I did it on an extremely small scale. But this applies to everyone. I mean, you have to start small, right? And you start small, and with a discipline and with a framework of trading and investing, investing and holding bought the biggest profits. You can eventually step up your game, and from small things, small numbers, big numbers can mature. And I think that's the most important thing for people. Their time horizon is very small. They want to make high gains in a short amount of time. And only after a long time with discipline and with compounding interest, you can basically go from small numbers to big numbers.
And are you an investor? What cryptocurrency do you invest in?
So if you take cryptocurrency really as a currency, you could call it like speculation, because investing itself, usually you invest, and investing gives you either a cash flow, so you invest into dividend stocks and you get a cash flow out. You invest into property, into real estate, right? You take a loan, you invest into real estate, and then the tenant just pays off your loan, and this is all combined with a cash flow and an appreciation. For currencies, actually, it is very hard to call it investing. However, many people say Bitcoin is a store of value, just like gold. So you can invest in gold. Gold is not only a currency; it's an asset. Actually, it's a commodity. So it really depends on how you define cryptocurrencies. But I would say yes, investor, especially in things like Ethereum, you can actually lock up Ethereum, can gain interest on that. You can you can give out loans in Ethereum. You can do so many stuff. You can make DAOs. You can build decentralized autonomous organizations which give you a cash flow. So in cryptocurrencies, you can for sure call yourself an investor if you define it the right way.
Do you invest in other cryptocurrencies apart from Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Yeah, it was during the whole bear market, the vast majority was invested in Bitcoin. I'm not only talking for myself, also for the team. So the biggest part was in Bitcoin for sure. And ever since we realized how important DeFi, decentralized finance, and decentralized autonomous organizations can be for crypto as a whole, we understood that, well, Ethereum might take the second spot. And once we saw that the value locked up in decentralized finance went from 300 million to 1 billion in a short amount of time, between I think like January to March or so, we thought, well, this is going parabolic and it might continue. And right now it is continuing to go parabolic. So there are many projects out there like synthetics and so on, but we decided, all right, we will first of all scale into Ethereum. And now we switched a part of our portfolio from Bitcoin also over into Ethereum, which is still below 20%. I can say that. It's actually way below 10%, but before it was 100% Bitcoin, now it's also Ethereum, and we are looking out for other DeFi projects, and maybe we will also switch back a little bit into Monero.
Okay. What are your own investment principles, if you have any? I think you have.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I always try to look at the best ones in the space. And for example, George Soros, I mean, you can say everything you want about him in terms of ethics, but in terms of investment ethics, he's a very crazy guy. He's actually very successful. And he said, you should invest when there's blood in the streets. So whenever the sentiment is extremely horrible, this is actually the best time to invest. This shouldn't come with a surprise, but if you are yourself in the situation and you can see bad news everywhere, the price just plunges down to $6,400 and there's a lot of blood in the streets, everyone is losing money, everyone is fearful, this is the exact time. But from a psychological way, it's very hard to stick to that principle. However, we are every day trying to remind ourselves on that. Right now, Bitcoin just dipped down. We still have a bullish bias. We still think we are in a long-term uptrend. But with that quote in mind from George Soros, this one principle, invest when there's blood in the streets, this holds really true for us, and we are trying to remind us every day on that, especially right now where Bitcoin dropped from 10,300 to 9,300, like $1,000. It can go lower. However, there's already blood in the streets. So if you want to dollar cost average dynamically, this might be a good starting point right now. Another thing is from Warren Buffett. He said rule number one is don't lose money. And rule number two is never forget rule number one. So the most important thing is you shouldn't be, another one in addition to that is Warren Buffett also said, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So the first thing, be greedy when others are fearful, refers back to the George Soros principle. And the other thing is just the other way around. So for example, when there's blood in the streets, you should be greedy. But on the other hand, when everyone is greedy, you should be fearful. But if you are greedy when everyone is greedy, so in the end of the parabolic bull market, or when you can see all mainstream media talking good about Bitcoin, this might be the moment where you should start scaling out, and this prevents you from losing money. And this is actually a very good principle referring back to Warren Buffett, who said, you should never lose money. Because by not losing money, you can make sure that your compound interest of your portfolio is not getting hurt, right? Because whenever we see a flash crash in the end of a bull market of 50%, it takes ages to make that back.
Yeah, right. Probably it's a difficult question, but how do you analyze charts? Can you give us any advice?
Yeah, so most of the people use technical analysis. We are using that as well, but less than 50% if you look at the time we are allocating to it. More than 50%, however, we are allocating towards fundamental on-chain analysis. So for Bitcoin, Bitcoin is on the blockchain. It's a distributed ledger on the blockchain. It's like a record where someone, like, who sends money from where to where, right? It's basically only a deduction on balance A and a surplus on balance B. But with this small things, with the timestamps, the amounts being sent from A to B and from B to A and from B to C, with this information, you can measure greed, fear. Just like I referred back to Warren Buffett, you can measure whenever people are overly, on average, buying in a profit, selling in a loss, and so on. You can pull out so many indicators, leading indicators, lagging indicators from the Bitcoin blockchain, and this is called on-chain fundamental indicators. And for Bitcoin, the first time in the history of mankind, in the history of investing, we have a distributed, completely transparent ledger, which is giving us all the information you need to measure greed, feed, to see when it is the most probable time that we bottomed out, that we topped out in a bull market. And this is basically amazing. And looking back, I mean, everyone can check out our channel. It's MMCrypto on YouTube. You can see that with these things, you can, with a very high degree of certainty, because not many people are using it right now, predict bear market bottoms, bull market highs, certain retracement levels within these cycles. You can see when people are mostly trading in a loss. This is, of course, a good time to buy. Whenever the most people are trading in a profit, this is a good time to sell, and many, many other things. I could talk about that like for an hour or so. So this is truly revolutionary. We think this is the future of trading also. It's not day trading, intraday trading, but you can use it, for example, for swing trading, for midterm trading. And this is what we are doing on our channel, and we are pushing much more content about that in the future. So to answer your question, technical analysis, but also on-chain fundamental analysis, which is, in our opinion, even more important.
Is it hard to learn it?
It's no, it's actually easy. You have to think your way in. So everyone knows technical analysis, the Fibonacci retracements, moving averages, everything you can see in the charts. And to understand on-chain fundamental metrics, you need to understand how a blockchain works. First of all, well, this should be a basic principle before you ever touch Bitcoin, of course. But you have to understand that. Then you have to understand what data points are in the blockchain. So, for example, how many Bitcoin is sent from who to who, what address to what address, what was the transaction fee, at what time was it sent. And once you understand all of that, that takes maybe 1 hour, 2 hours to understand it properly, like the basics, of course, from a high level. Then you can start looking into that. And we do it, like, for example, we take one indicator, and if something crazy happens, we make a video out of it, which is like a 10-minute video. After watching that video, you already understand the very fundamentals of that indicator, and this alone shows you how easy it is. If after 10 minutes you already understand the basics, that's easy. And we are planning to publish maybe, I don't know, some other content, like longer videos about every indicator in a course or so, where people can learn a more detailed way. But in our content on our channel, it's like 10 minutes. You can understand everything you need for your self-studies already.
That's great. I'll try. So the next question, when do you think the next Bitcoin all-time high be?
So I think until the halving, we might approach a level of 14,000. Maybe we will talk about that later. I think the all-time high we will reach after the halving, which shouldn't come with any surprise. I think only the biggest moon boys here in crypto would say, all right, we will reach it before May. However, I think we can reach it in 2020. Not only with the halving hype, but also looking at the technicals and the on-chain fundamental metrics. many things point towards the fact that we can make a 100% gain, which it needs to get to 9,700, which was the all-time high in 2020. 1 year is such a long time in crypto, and we already suffered such a crazy bear market until the end of 2018. We had another 6 or 7 month retracement from the 14,000 high to the 6,400 low, which we actually called in one of our videos before. And I think a lot of blood was already on the streets. I think a lot of people were already very fearful. We can already see the sentiment shifting again. So I think a lot of weak hands are shaken out already, and Bitcoin might be setting up for the next bullish run before the parabolic bull run maybe starts in 2021, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to answer your question, 2020 all-time high. I think after the halving, it might take in another few weeks or months. Mm-hmm. Maybe at latest at the end of 2020.
Okay, and how much will Bitcoin cost at the end of 2020?
Yeah, let's go for the all-time high. That would be the yearly high. What I could imagine is once we reach 20,000, that this attracts so many new people because the mainstream media will start talking about that. Forbes, I don't know. Financial Times, mm-hmm. like everything, right?
Yeah.
Even in the TV, you will see it. Bitcoin reaches a new all-time high. This attracts new money, and they are buying. And these people, the majority, is always losing money. So what I can see is either at the all-time high or once we shoot above it, we will see a massive dump, a massive sell-off, leading all these new weak hands in the market to be shaken out once again. And once we have cleared up the market again, we are up for the next run to the upside for good. But I cannot see that anytime in 2020. I think really getting significantly higher and also confirming the all-time high, and then Bitcoin reaching the next psychological milestone of 30,000. I think we have to wait for that until 2021.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And let's give some advice to newbies. Where should you start with crypto trading?
First of all, I would start, if you're really a newbie, I would start understanding Bitcoin. Then I would, Bitcoin and the blockchain technology. If you are really interested into altcoins, be very cautious, very cautious. Start with the biggest ones. Be always critical. Listen to many different opinions. And once you have built up your own holding portfolio, a long-term holding portfolio, you should need no financial advice, but this is by far the best thing you can do, especially right now where we are maybe on the verge of the next bull market. You should build up a long-term holding portfolio, in my opinion. And no matter what, you should stick your own principles. I will start scaling out when Bitcoin is at 100,000, for example, at 120,000. You should stick to that no matter what happens, and don't let anything rule your principles. If it's not fundamental decisions or any changes in this space, fundamental changes in this space. And once you have done that, you can allocate. If you really want to trade, you should trade. You should start trading with fake money, not with real money. There are exchanges who offer that. And once you feel secure, you could allocate a small amount of your portfolio just for learning purposes, just as big that it hurts you when you lose the trade, but not that it destroys you. So a small part of that. And try to find good teachers, good content, and never go in with more than you afford to lose. Because in trading, usually, like Da Vinci J15, our business partner, he said, the market always tries to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people most of the time, and this holds especially true for trading. For holding, this does not hold true, especially in a long-term growth market like Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much, Chris. I hope people who watch this won't lose their money. Hope they are wise people.
For sure. If it's your users from you today, I'm very sure they are very wise.
Yeah, thank you.